G'day humans, Chris Stead here. Today I'm reviewing this beauty, the 98-inch Samsung QN90D. So big TVs are all the rage in Australia at the moment. Each one of the manufacturers I'm talking to is saying the same thing and rolling out the same stats. Everyone's in to the bigger screens, and it doesn't get much bigger than the 98 inches that you can see right here. Now the QN90D is the flagship model in the new Samsung Neo QLED range, and it is not the only one though in the range. There's an 85 all the way down to 43. There's about 7 or 8 different variants that you can choose for. Obviously this is the Primo one, and it comes at a Primo price. And I apologise that you're watching me here on the screen, but every time I do one of these reviews and I put something else up there, someone does me for copyright. So anyway, you get to watch me and me. But let's talk about the price. So this thing at full recommended retail price is going to cost you $12,999 here in Australia. It's a huge investment, right? It's a big investment. You're really going to want the forever TV at that price in a way. Okay, but the good news is that there seems to be a lot of play in that price. So for the end of financial year sales, you can get this thing for $8,999. If you act quick, depending on when I put this up, you should be able to get it. That sale ends on July 3, but it tells me there's going to be a couple of these types of things over time as we go through kind of different sales. There's a lot of play in that price, clearly. It's worth noting if you go all the way down the range to the 43-inch, it's $1,999 recommended retail price, so quite a difference there. So let's jump into some of the specifications here. So this is the Neo QLED panel as mentioned, which is kind of the next evolution of the QLED range from Samsung. Samsung's calling it a 4K quantum matrix technology, which is all about upping the brightness and expanding the contrast to get those deeper blacks for a mini LED. It's not OLED level, but the gap is closing. I really was impressed actually by the contrast with this panel. And also the HDR10 Plus quality. That's where it really you really notice it. Now the Quantum Mini LED tech here offers around 40 times the lighting of traditional LED. You're getting 100% color gamut as well, and it is Pantone validated. Now it's all driven by the new NQ4 AI Gen 2 processor, which ups the NPU speed by 4 times to provide a big leap in 4K upscaling. That's not just the picture, it's the sound as well. So you're going to get those that older content's going to look really sharp. Well, it's not going to, it does look really sharp on this TV. I've been testing it myself. Other noticeable features include Super Picture Enhancer, Adaptive Picture, Auto HDR Remastering, Motion Rate 200, Real Depth Enhancer Pro, which kind of gives you that foreground contrast, a bit like the human eye. For gamers, this panel's great. It's really good. It's a really good gaming panel. You get 120 Hz refresh rate, with a variable refresh rate that is as well. You got Bluetooth controller support, dedicated gaming hub, including Xbox Game Pass, and there's the Samsung Game Bar, which you might have seen on some of the Samsung monitors, like the Odyssey. There's an AI auto game mode, so it's going to adjust that picture based on the game you're playing. There's auto low latency, and this has 4 HDMI 2.1 ports, which is great for the next gen gaming, especially if you've got multiple consoles and you still want to use that EARC port to get out to a soundbar. On the sound front, you can expect 60 watts of 4.22 system in here. That's in the actual screen itself. That includes upwards and sideways firing speakers. Dolby Atmos out of the box. And also Object Tracking Sound Plus, Adaptive Sound Pro, and it's Q Symphony paired when you've got with the sound of the Samsung soundbar. It has got smart things like most of the Samsung TVs, which is you can probably see some of the lighting from the Hue smart things going around. Now the OS is the new version of the UI, the Tizen, and that's going to get the kind of live content via Samsung TV Plus integrated alongside of that streaming and gaming and music. Look, some people really don't like the UI with the Samsung. I don't mind it. But there is one notable missing feature here, and that's the lack of Dolby Vision, which is a bit of a shame. So let's talk a little bit about the design of the TV. So this has got the new Neo Slim design, they're calling it, and it's about 31 millimeters thick. So it's it's a pretty slim panel. Not OLED slim, but still super slim. It does have quite a bezel around it though, which you can probably see through the footage right now. A good centimetre all around the outside, which I did find a bit noticeable. So that's something to take into account. And obviously, it's all about the size, right? So if you've got a room big enough to hold this thing, I mean, I'm 2 meters tall. you know, or $195, right? I'm a big bloke. That should be giving you some pretty serious scale here about how huge this TV actually is. But you'd probably really want to wall mount it because it's a lot of TV to be having on a entertainment unit. The kickstand itself is a very narrow one. I don't know if you're familiar with the Samsung kickstands, they're quite narrow, very heavy, like a really solid weight, but they're centralized. So you can get this on, you know, any real size entertainment unit without too many problems. But yeah, for my money, you'd want to be wall mounting it. Obviously you can't do that by yourself, so you're gonna need some help doing that, but that's the way to watch it in my opinion. So how does the actual TV perform? That's what we're all here for, right? That's what you're investing all this money in. And you know, I realise this probably isn't the greatest example of content to show you, but I just knew that I wasn't going to get copyright claimed for it. I'll see if I can, if I can, I'll cut to some more footage right now and we'll see what happens. And we'll see if we get a claim against us. But yeah, I've been sitting down watching this TV for a while. I've flicked through quite a different range of things. I watched Fallout, I watched some Walking Dead. I was trying to find some really dark content. I watched some Star Wars, obviously a lot of space set stuff, and really impressed by the depth of the blacks without really corrupting the colors at all. Like, so you're getting that kind of, none of that kind of weird misty feeling you can kind of get when you get the light bleed, which I have experienced on Samsungs in the past. It's a real crisp, deep black, and you're not losing any of that vibrant color as well. The HDR looks fantastic. Really making use of that extra brightness that you're getting out of this panel for a really beautiful and enjoyable viewing experience. So yeah, really happy with how this as a screen performs. Obviously it's missing the Dolby Vision, you're paying a lot for it. And there are OLEDs even in the Samsung range, and also up to 8K. So there are some options out there, but yeah, this just looks great. It really does, and I've really enjoyed watching it. It's kind of like it's got like a soft feel to it as well. I don't know how to describe it. It's not harsh. It's just really lovely combined color and darkness and brightness and all this type of stuff going on. So yeah, totally dig it, especially in gaming. Looks fantastic with the gaming, and it's well set up with the features for the gaming as well. Look, with the UI, I know some people have talked about having a bit of a problem with it. I find it okay. Look, it's not unreal, but it has improved, and it is trying to integrate more kind of things in that initial entry level. It's a bit more divided now. You can switch between live and the apps with a bit more ease, and I think it's going in the right direction. So that's pretty good. I think it's worth noting that the upscaling was really impressive as well. I was watching some HD content and it was looking really sharp, kind of blowing up into this big size, and that's where that kind of processor is really coming in and making a difference, I think, as well. With the sound, look, the 60 watts in here, it's 4.2.2. It's good that it's got the side. Obviously having upward speakers, that's also going to really help with a panel this size, but 60 watts is a little bit on the low side, and it sounds good. It's definitely going to get you out of trouble, but you do want to try and pair it with a soundbar, like all the TVs really, and that's going to put you in with one of these Samsung soundbars for sure, because then you can use Q Symphony, and because of that height and those upward facing speakers, if you've got Q Symphony running on this, you're really going to benefit, because it's going to utilize those speakers to just get that soundscape going for you really well. So that's definitely something I'd be considering if you're going for one of these TVs, and then definitely try and pair it. If there's one thing I'm not that fond of, it's the remote. I just find it's very small, it's very easily lost between cushions in the couch, and it disappears quite easily out of sight. It's easy to bump. It doesn't kind of have that motion control and other things that we see. I'm not a big fan of the remote. That's one thing I feel like these need to improve. This is similar to previous years. I can't see any difference to previous years. So that's something I could work on in the future. But overall, I'm really quite fond of this TV. Who's not going to be fond when you're looking at something like this, right? But yeah, it's the performance of the panel itself and just a pure viewing experience is definitely great. And it's well worth considering. And if that price point of $12.99 is putting $12,999, geez, I almost forgot a 9 then, is putting you off, like I'm sure it will many people, it's worth noting that the 85-inch, which is still huge, you know, it's still a big TV and big enough for most rooms, that is going to set you back half the price, recommended retail that is. So that's definitely something to consider. Anyway guys, those are my thoughts on the Samsung QN90D. Great TV, and I've really enjoyed watching it. That's all I've got to say about that. That's my review done. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure you check my other videos out, including this one. Well, you've already seen that. And yeah, until next time, I'll check you later. You.